Right guys, here we are. So we've made it to Oslo. Will and I were talking, we thought we might be out in the fjord somewhere swimming with orca, but that's not the case. We're 3 minutes away from where we're meeting the team, and man, I love Scandinavia. I absolutely love Scandinavia. Everything's clean, everything's fresh, efficient. Anyway, we're about to go and meet Micro Milspec. Henrik, the CEO, is waiting for us. Let's have a quick sniff.
Hi.
How are you?
Nice to see
you. Justin, how are you?
Like we are an unknown brand, you know? So we're like the brand that nobody knows, but it's still a brand.
But some people do know.
Yes, the military.
Yeah.
So we've done now 40 custom projects with military units around the world. 40, yeah.
Wow. And which was your first?
330 Squadron. So that's like the Royal Search and Rescue Squadron of Norway.
The Norwegian.
Yeah. I was sitting in a watchmaker's store and a guy came in asking for a custom timepiece. He had been doing some research for like the cheaper brands, the bigger brands, like the whole spectre, but he didn't quite find what he was looking for. So my journey actually started with me asking him, "What do you want?" Instead of, you know, which is quite.
And what were you doing there? What were you doing there? Were you working there?
I was renting a space because so I moved to this is a place called Sagen in Norway with my. Wife, then the fiance. So we moved to Sagen, which is an old part of town with cobblestone streets, brick wall buildings, and very close to where I was living, there was a watchmaker, and he had a small door. Was playing jazz all day, like a proper old, like a proper character. They had hosting cigar events, and I was just so busy talking that he didn't have time to do any watchmaking stuff. So I was one of those guys he came to talk to, or I came to talk to him. And from there, it's just my interest started to spike into watches. I rented a place in his workshop. I was sitting there, and then the person from the military entered his shop.
So you were working from his location, but you had nothing to do with watches at the time?
No, I was just doing some sourcing, you know, for within Switzerland. I was just sort of, I don't know, like the gig economy, you know, like a freelance watch, And then he ventured in and I asked him what he wanted, and he told me exactly what he wanted to do. So I said, and that's not easy to do.
And which one is he on here? Which
would be this one.
And what was he asking for? What was he wanting?
So he wanted to do everything that a typical watch company don't want to do. So normally you would just do a painting on the dial or a print, for example, to sort of get that unity feeling. But he wanted to. So here you can see he wrote Zulu time. They wanted to do that on the dial. It's a little bit small, but Zulu time here was important for them because Norway you do have some time zones, for example, towards Russia, and they also go to Sweden, and then you have but it's close proximity. You don't necessarily need a 24-hour GMT. So they call it the micro GMT. So you can actually adjust your time, and they only work on Zulu. So to avoid confusion, they wanted to have this on their timepiece. And obviously doing this is quite expensive if you want to a known brand. So obviously us having all of the incentives to do a proper job, we did a custom bezel. The hands are from the instrument panel inside of the dial here. The indexes, the date is also orange to match the signal color of the Sea King helicopter.
And the dial's got a Sea King on there as well.
Yeah, so they had to draw this one from scratch. So the normal Sea King helicopters are quite different, or this minor detail.
Here's the US Space Force.
So the US Space Force is the newest addition to the US military. It's a very forward-leaning organization. A lot of watch interest in it, and they came to us because they wanted to have something like robust. They're not allowed to wear any smartwatches because of the inherent difficulties that you might get with tracking, tracing, and everything. So this is safe for operational use. They wanted to have stars, symbols, official emblems, because all of their unit have orbits and stars in them. So here you can find one element that goes for all of their different divisions. One of the most important things that we do is deciphering the brief that we get from the units to something that is unique to them, has a story that they can tell. So when you see it, it will just be a nice timepiece. But for them, it will have hidden details, some nudges to what's most important to them. And in there, they're actually the ones defining the spectrum of the tool aspect of the timepiece. And that's where we come into sort of, you can do this, but then the price is going to go there, and the colors are going to go this way. So it's...
Let's talk about where you make this. Do you talk about that? Do you have lots of different suppliers? And then you
the watches?
Yeah. Loads of different suppliers globally? Some nearby or...?
So everything is Swiss made.
Okay.
And we're working through like an expert network through Switzerland to do everything.
Okay.
And it's been our most important factor, I think, in our success to be able to deliver quality and predictability to our customers, but also maintaining the price point so it doesn't get too crazy.
But that's also not a cheap way to do it. You know, you could have done it for less, right? You could have gone elsewhere, but you've gone Swiss, and I've just seen now Swiss made on the dial there as well. Movements, same story.
Yeah, Celita.
Yeah.
We do have our own custom rotors now coming for all of the newest edition, and I think also with what separates milspec apart from many players in the industry is that we work now with 40 different military units, and I think it's fair to say now that it's the most demanding customers that in the market, but in a good way, because they know exactly what they want, and they haven't been able to necessarily achieve it as of right now, and that's been one of the main points in defining our price segment. Because if you go too low, you will end up with something that doesn't reflect the unit and the quality and what you stand for. And if you go too expensive, you're going to lose the rest of the unit. So you have to find that sweet spot where you get the quality and the price point that is acceptable. And I think that's also been one of the reasons why we've become so popular, because right now, all of the major players in the market, they have just gone for old money, double prices over the last 4 years. So it's a big vacuum in that segment. And then we've been so fortunate to sign some collaborations for next year.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to share them right now, but it's going to be really fun. Yeah.
With media brands or
with the
individuals?
Designers,
cool.
Designers, athletes. Some retailers, So it's
talking of athletes, we did see that you had some early partnerships with athletes. Tell us how that came about, because you got some interesting people, no?
Holland. Yeah. His timepiece is right here. So
for anyone who doesn't know watching this, tell us who this was for and how this came about.
So this is...
I only know because I saw his photo on your Instagram and I couldn't work it out.
This is a personal timepiece for Erling Haaland, and obviously it is personal. So, and he's a private guy.
Yes.
So there is like.
So he's a Man City player, footballer.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best ever. Okay, so he came to you and wanted something made specifically.
Yeah, he's a watch guy. Yeah. He loves watches. Us being Norwegian, it was an obvious type of an easy conversation to have. He had some specifics that he wanted to have in his timepiece. I'm not going to overshare, but you can find them if you look online, and this is a forged carbon case that we've done. The movement is from Boucher, and it's top line for titanium cases.
That's really interesting. The case is beautiful.
Yeah,
the Boucher movement is owned by Hermes or part owned by Hermes. Like Richard Mille make the Parmigiani, I think, as well.
Yeah, and Audemars, I think, also have.
So it's a serious,
Yeah, so it was quite a process to get these movements.
Yeah. Can I have a look at the movement?
Yeah, no, it's this one.
Oh, the closed case back. Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice. Just for him.
Don't want to brag.
Just for him.
You asked how the Millgraph came to be. This is the only watch that we received back from the field testing program.
Sorry, this was the one we're going to frame. The one that came back destroyed. So what happened here? Did he?
They said it was a motorcycle. We don't know.
We don't know.
But it looks
Was it still working when it came back?
No. It doesn't have a crown even.
But you can see here the damage on the dial.
Yeah.
And that was the reason for you printing on the dial initially, was to see how things would wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the instructions here. It says sync at 12. on top. So they were supposed to, and some of them did in the initial phase. They took a photo with their iPhone at 12. So we got all of the info back to us here. And then when the program was finished, we hoped that they would return the timepieces, or that at least was part of the deal.
They never came back.
But they never came back, and it's hard to argue with somebody that really loves your watches. So they kept them.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of been discovered by collectors in the market as a unique piece. It has like an authentic story to why it came to be. So we have developed the same type of a watch and feel, but this one was 100 meter water resistant, 60 bezel click system. And now we are delivering it with 200 meter water resistant, like all of our watches as a standard, and 120 click bezel.
And closed case back as well.
And closed case back,
Yeah. It's funny with an open case back because people think open case back's more for show. Closed case back feels more utilitarian,
It does.
authentic to the realities of what we have.
It definitely doesn't, and this one as well is without any inscription on it.
Just clean.
Yeah.
Super clean.
So we
Pure
wanted them to give it back, so they didn't get any attachment to it. But
that's never going to happen with the watch.
No.
Unfortunately. Put it on when you put it on. The ultimate salesman technique is get it on the wrist. Once it's on the wrist, you're never taking it off. And the silver is interesting. You know, you don't see that many silver, like sunburst silver dials. I mean, when I looked at it for the first time with fresh eyes, that was the one thing. The inscription on the dial and the silver sunburst, those two elements, the design. Because as you say, you're not a huge watch. You know, none of you guys are watch geeks at heart. You design for
our customers are the geeks.
The geeks.
Yeah.
You are you deliver the goods.
Yeah.
You're not the watch geeks, and that's interesting because I like that. You know, it's different. That's not always the way it is for them.
It is different. Indeed.
Apart from one CEO I know from a brand, he doesn't wear a watch because he doesn't like to involve himself in the emotion of collecting. Not dissimilar to you guys, but
no, but I do understand because from when you wear your own products all the time, it's almost like you become this cannibal, you know, where or you're just too close to the products that you're not able to see how a customer would maybe appreciate your own product. So I think there's nice with that detachment, but because obviously if you want, you can wear it all the time.
Tell me about Scandinavian watchmaking, because that's an interesting conversation. Like you guys have such a I spent many years working with Brun Rasmussen, the auction house in Denmark, and you guys have such a culture of design. But yet, for some reason, watchmaking itself has never been a huge part of the culture.
Not yet, no.
Furniture has, clothing for sure.
Clothing, indeed, yeah.
But not watches necessarily.
No, not at the moment. Or I think there's been a couple of seeds, you know, growing, but it's never really became that huge international success. But I think Scandinavian watchmaking is really defined by the nature. So it's a lot of the designs so far has been inspired by fjords, the nature, unique places that you can go and visit. And so it's sort of, if you have that interest, if that's your thing, then obviously it's been a big offering for that. And what's been our major differentiator is that we've had 40 military units wanting us to make watches. So they have defined everything that we have become, and that's also a super niche. So like nature-inspired timepieces is also a niche in itself, and then here we are in a super niche, but it bears similarities, I think, to what more watch people can relate to in terms of other offerings in the market, being towards tactical military pilot watches and so on.
And do you think the future of the brand is sticking to the focal point of supporting military units, or do you think, can you see yourself in years to come, because you're such a young brand, it's hard to say really, you don't know what the future holds, but your focus still being on the core offering?
And I think in general, one of the most maybe one of the most important qualities a brand can have is predictability. So that when you actually invest in a product, we're going to be the same in 10 years, 20 years. It's not going to be something completely different that doesn't relate to you at all, and you just want to remove your timepiece because this is not what I signed up for. So being that important, we're going to stay the same, obviously, and cater to our most important customers. This also has a little bit of a story to it. So we wanted this to look like when you're out in the cockpit at night. It's completely green. But in order to get that display feel to it, we wanted to incorporate this square, the display square, into the glass, the sapphire glass. So it has 3 dimensions to it. And even when we made the first prototype of this one, we did all of the green in the same color. But even then you couldn't see the different layers being illuminated.
Yeah.
So we had to make a tiny different gradient of the green on each element to be able to showcase.
I can see the boxes slightly lighter than, than the markers, which are darker,
When they were the same, it was just all coming together and overlapping.
I've not seen that before, that way of framing the time.
No.
It's quite clear though, isn't it? It's instant. It's clear and instant. And so this is civilian, so when will this be available? Will this be for another run? Or?
This is now on the 29th.
As well, so this is the 3rd one. So there's 3 different.
It's 6 watches on the 29th.
Okay, well shit, sorry, forgive me. So that's the 3rd.
Yeah.
Which are the other 3 then?
We're getting them soon now by Knut.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Guys, you're literally, none of this has been planned. As you can see, this is actually as it's happening. So 3 more watches available on the 29th.
Yeah, so we're heading to Geneva Watch Days with this lineup, and Knut here is putting on the bracelets right now. So they came from our watchmaker.
And there's going to be, say, 200 of each.
200 of each.
Yeah.
6 different models with one new surprise, the Millgraph, and that is 50.
It's 50. Yeah. Price point wise, is the Millgraph much more?
It's 3,500 euros.
Okay.
It's still very accessible.
Yes.
But obviously it's a completely different punch.
Yeah. Different product. You can see the different elements. Okay, so we've got the case shape, which is consistent with the bracelet, but you can see the hands differing on each of them.
Yep.
The markers and the dials, all very, very different. How did you choose on these? How did you pick these 3 as the 6 in total?
Yeah.
As the ones to list?
The main factor that has gone into selecting our timepieces is the actual project that we have done with the military. So these are for the French combat divers. And it's such a small unit that in order for them to be able to get their own custom timepiece, they had also to invite collectors to support their timepiece.
How many of them are there? Individuals in the group?
Who knows?
Less than 50.
It's a small unit. They operate on not parallel with the actual military because they have their own branch. They only answer to the government. So this is a very secretive unit. We don't have the name or the address of any of them. So this is.
So how many did they order? 100.
This is the production is 100.
Is 100, yeah. So we don't know how many went to the actual team versus some went to local friends and family of people who may have ordered, or
no one knows.
No one knows. Yeah. But now you can own a variation of that. So how did theirs differ to this?
This one has the same face front.
Yes.
But there is a difference to the case back on it.
Okay.
They have, you can see here, they have incorporated a different inscription into the sapphire glass on the back, which is not included here.
Okay. Wearing an issued watch is quite a controversial thing amongst watch collectors. The idea that you, because you can sometimes find them pop up at auction. You know, there might be a watch that was issued to the SAS or something for over the years. But the idea that you actually came on board to help them buy the whole group from you, that's pretty cool. I can get my head around that. That feels different. That feels different to wearing a watch that was issued to someone that then they couldn't afford to keep or whatever and they sold.
And there's a huge difference because you're not from the get-go banned from getting it, which is quite different.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome, even though you're not.
The process.
Which do you think is going to be the most popular out of the 6?
The fittest unit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's now that we have all of them here on display. The field testing unit has been by far the most popular.
Wow, that's interesting. Why do you think? I mean, just the cleanliness of it, simplicity.
Yes, it's just it has a punch to it, which is obviously they're all quite different. They have their unique personality. This one, I think, bears similarities to what you would, what you comfortably would wear. Not that many collectors, and at least not like the major watch market has that big risk element into like the fashion part of watches. They want to have something safe, but still unique enough so that you can get your own. Yeah.
Can you put a rubber strap on?
They're all interchangeable.
All interchangeable.
Yeah.
So Millgraph wasn't communicated in the same way necessarily. This is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
100 pieces versus 200 pieces each.
Yes. So we planned the annual collection back in January. And then the honest truth is that we didn't know that we were going to be invited to Geneva Watch Days. And when so on the first call, everybody was super excited. You had like the big brands and they were talking about what they're going to release. And then we saw that it's requirement to have a completely new release, novelty. Yeah. So we had this one in the back pocket ready.
Okay.
We were supposed to launch this as a custom project because it's been a part of what we've done for the Special Operation Forces. So we had to, finally get our most intentional timepiece open to the public. So that's how this one came on top of everything else.
Brilliant.
There's no secrets here.
Absolutely brilliant. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for showing us everything and really understanding more about the business, because there aren't many other businesses like you guys out there with this intrigue, this mysteriousness. But I feel like this week, next week, week after, people are really going to get their heads around what you've been doing here. And yeah, super excited to hear how it goes. I'm sure it'll be a big success.
I'll see you there.
Good to see you. Keep on.